Good afternoon, everybody. Both from the SAP team in Belgium, Flexo for People, and of course, Degroof Petercam, we wish you a very welcome at our banking webinar today. Thanks a lot for resisting the beautiful weather outside to join our webinar. So a very warm welcome. Just a minute. A very warm welcome. So I'm Tom Mentens, competence lead at Flexo for People. And together with Spitaels from Degroof Petercam, we will host this event today. What we will do today is that we will see how Degroof Petercam embarked on this beautiful HR transformation journey together with Flexo for People. We were actually in the front seat with and he will explain today how Degroof Petercam made the move to the cloud. After the presentation of Guy, I will present our view of Flexo for People view on HR transformation and how our methodology can assist you in taking the HR journey as well. During our presentation, of course, don't hesitate to raise your questions. So I think it's possible to do so, and we will handle the questions after. Of course, we did some, we want to have a safe webinar, so we will have the social distancing practices into place. So I will roll out and I will leave the virtual floor to Guy.
Thank you, Tom. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Guy Spitaels, working as an HRIS manager for Degroof Petercam since February 2018. Before, I worked as an HRIS manager at Umicore, and I was also active as a consultant a long time ago with Norgate Arinso, and started my career at Sabena as a payroll administrator. But today, HRIS manager for Degroof, and I'm happy you join this webinar to see the journey we have made with our move to the cloud. On the agenda, introduction, some context. I will give you some insights on our RFP process, the project itself, of course, and you will see that not only SuccessFactors was enough. We added some extensions, also some insights on non-HR processes that we support. Of course, change management important, and as Tom mentioned at the end, some Q&A possibilities. I don't think I have to introduce you to Degroof Petercam. As a banking webinar, I assume you have some knowledge about the banking landscape. We are a leading independent financial institution for already 150 years, serving any client who has the ambition to move ahead. So allow me to skip the commercial part. Give you some figures on Degroof Petercam. In total, 26 sites, Europe, about 1,500 active internal employees, with a focus Belgium, France, and Luxembourg. I think we have a strong brand name, Degroof Petercam, well known. We pop up regularly on Radio 1 or financial information or magazines. Independent, family owned. We are big enough, but at the same time small enough to matter. So gives us some flexibility, complementary across countries, and a strong culture and human values. On our journey, all starts 2015, the merger of Degroof and Petercam, already 5 years ago. Of course, at that time, the focus was to harmonize the business. On HR, there were also some harmonizations, but on a country level. At two different companies, different practices, different policies, it was important to harmonize them. And to be honest, systems was not a priority at that moment. With the result that a lot of the HR processes were done in Excel. But times change, and there was an increasing need for dynamic org charts, accurate, up-to-date employee data, because as you all know, the demands from the regulators, for example, National Bank, ECB, they are huge, and the need came to have a system in place to be able to answer to those reporting needs. At the same time, talent processes, the development of our people, bringing two banks together resulted in a lot of training and transformation needs, how to capture that. Also, the market changes, pushes to digitalization, mobile, and as you will see later, employee data is also used in non-HR applications, but some insights in that in a few moments. So the CHRO, Jean-Marc Verbist, took the decision to hire an HRIS manager and to invest in a new HR platform. And that's where I come into the picture. I was hired as the HRIS manager and got the challenge to go to the market and see what was the best solution for Bank Degroof Petercam as an HRIS solution. The CHRO, Jean-Marc, told me, voila, these are the objectives. We need a central, future-proof HR database. Don't come to me within 3 years saying, I need another one. It needs to be for the group level. And although we have the focus on Belgium, France, and Luxembourg, we also have people in Spain, Switzerland, Germany. If I want headcount reporting, those needs to be included. So take care. But also, again, the non-HR departments, like our IT procurement, they also need our data, our figures, make sure we can serve them. It needs to be real time. When the COMEX or executive level wants to know, take an easy example, how many we are, it's not end of the month. No, it's today. Today at 1:30, how many employees we have in the group. It's important. At the same time, centralized performance processes. We are big enough, but at the same time, not that big. It should be possible to have one performance process for the group, making it possible to compare and to manage from a group level. Bringing a system in place will, at the start, increase some workload, but on the longer end, it should reduce the operational load so we can focus on the strategic activities and the support. Automation of payroll interfaces to avoid double data entry, that was a must. And at that time, still today, I don't know, Tom, GDPR, it was the buzzword 2017, 2018. The solution had to be GDPR compliant by design. The project timing was quite ambitious. We started in February 2018 with stakeholder interviews within HR, but also from the business, our private banking, commercial department, operations. What do they need, expect from HR? So an RFP was created and distributed to 9 possible solutions providers. Those answers were evaluated during April, May. We received 6. And out of those 6, we selected 4 and invited them for a demo day at our premises to evaluate and to see the different solutions. In June, we have only 2 providers on the shortlist. We organized deep dive sessions on HR with the task owners of HR, but also with our IT department to discuss the architecture, the integrations, but also we had the workshops with legal, with security, to make sure that from the beginning, everything was covered, because it was clear that we would go for a cloud solution, and cloud and banking, it's not that obvious. 2018, we also used to have the reference checks, and we organized extra demos to our HR in the other countries, also to create that group culture, that group feeling. July 2018, before my holidays, it was possible to have a steer code decision on the provider, and I left the team. You can start with the contracting. So when I came back after my holidays, August, we were able to sign the contracts and start the realization. Realization ended with the go live in March 2019. But I come back to the planning immediately. On the RFP, not going too much into details, but we had 10 different criteria, and the 2 providers on the shortlist were scored against those 10 criteria. But as you can see, differences between the 2 are not that big, making it to a difficult decision, because you have 2 solutions that are almost equal, which one to take, knowing it will the system to use for the coming years. It's an important decision, an important budget. You have to be well aware of the choices made. But you have to make a decision, and although that the criteria were showing an advantage for success factors, which was of course important, also the cultural fit was important. The fit we had with the system, the flexibility, and I will not say the others don't have it, but it's difficult to say. Kind of a feeling. How do you feel? Because we had several contacts, deep dive demos, sessions with the task owners, and their feedback was really important. And they confirmed that the SuccessFactors solution, in fact, answered the best to our culture of Bank Degroof Petercam, in order to support the vision and the strategy of the bank and HR. SuccessFactors was one choice. But then there are multiple providers who implement that solution. We opted for Flexo for People because the same, the best cultural fit and the answers to our requirements in order to implement and also support the solution. Because it's perhaps easy to implement and walk away, but we stated from the beginning, you implement and you stay. So if you mess it up now, you will pay for it later. But that didn't happen, so you can be sure. Some details on the planning. When I look to the realization phase after the contracting, which ended in August, we started our explore realization in the realization phase in October, with the go live of the main modules in March, which was, to my opinion, short but intense period in almost 5 months. We did the full analysis and the implementation, testing, data migration, as planned. From the beginning, we had that planning clear, and we were able to stick to the planning. The go live, however, was phased, and the first go live end of March, based on the foundation elements, our organizational structure, for example, Employee Central, the database for the employees, but also the payroll integrations. We have SD Works as a payroll provider. Connect with them. We send information from SuccessFactors to SD, but there is also information coming back from SD, from eBlocks HR to our SuccessFactors platform. Analytics Cloud went live, and also the module on and offboarding was one of the priorities, and they went live also March. Learning 3 months later was live early June. And by the end of the year, we had goals and performance live, this to start the 2020 evaluation, performance and evaluation cycle, which is currently going on. For 2020, we are focusing career development, succession, and recruiting. To be honest, Comp and Ben is still on the roadmap, but I don't know. I also seen the changed situation if we will be able to finish Comp and Ben. Otherwise, we will do it in 2021. In order to visualize our process, we created an employee path where the different modules are linked together. A big change for the bank was position management. We had intense discussions on will we, yes or no, use position management. At the end, we did. We saw the advantages, the reporting, open positions, vacancies, also the fact that we will go live with recruitment later this year convinced us in the added value of position management. Recruitment, then onboarding. Onboarding, also absolute must for Bank Degroof. We are growing, we are hiring quite some people, and a nice experience for our employees was absolutely a must. Then we have the employee database, Employee Central, linked with learning. People come to the bank, they have GDPR compliance trainings to follow, so that's covered there. Compensation and benefits to come. Then the performance process, and then offboarding will come later. So that's, in a nutshell, our employee path that is used. Was also used during the change management to visualize the employee life and career events. Already mentioned majority of these, the benefits, Employee Central. We opted for a global approach, global meaning at the sites we cover, having the same definitions. That was it was a must. If you talk about one headcount, one FTE, does it include yes or no active, inactive people? If you talk about inactive people, the illness should be how much months in order to consider them. All that was aligned between the different countries. That allows us to do the group reporting and to have one source of truth. And that's today, I think, one of the major achievements that the people, that's the name of our platform, is really accepted, not only by HR, but by the entire group and the bank as the single source of truth. If it's not in the people, it does not exist. So that's critical and one of the success factors of the project. The payroll interfaces, don't have to tell you, payroll is always doubting on having interfaces and not having the hand in every data entry, but payroll interface with SD went well, is stable. Also with the one in Luxembourg, everybody happy also there. With the onboarding, the nice user experience is one thing, but also we had to change the process. We wanted a higher involvement of our hiring managers. In the process before the people, they were only involved, of course, with the selection, but then at the first day of the new employee. What happened in the meantime, he didn't know, he couldn't care less. That is changed. Now with onboarding, we offer the platform for the hiring manager to write a welcome message, to assign a buddy, to assign some trainings, interesting links, to present his team to the newcomer, which is really well appreciated. But it's a change because the hiring manager had to already be busy with someone who will join his team within 3, 4, or 6 months. So took some education there. Automated data flow. Again, we focused a lot on avoiding double data entry. And the data is entered in onboarding partially by our recruiters, but also the majority by the employee himself. And that information, of course, we have a lot of validation checks on it, is then being pushed to Employee Central, where our contract administrator is doing the final checks and doing the confirmation. On the performance management, I think that's the rather standard process. We have objective setting, continuous review and evaluation period, backed up with the calibration sessions. Ask feedback, important functionality for us, a lot of projects going on. And that was also offered by SuccessFactors. And then the learning. There, we already offer learning to the employees during the onboarding phase. We have a newcomers program ready. It allows us easily to follow up on the mandatory trainings and the retraining. Information sessions, registrations for our reporting, for example. We had e-learnings, but on different platforms, not centralized, but a lot of maintenance to be done on those different platforms. So we internalized those e-learnings. We brought them all to our platform, where we can also use surveys and use targeting to push certain e-learning or trainings to our employees. Architecture, just to show you that from the Excel where we were before, we have put SuccessFactors in the heart of the organization, making it links to our payroll providers, but also to different IT applications, Active Directory, of course, for authentication, but also for the service desk. If you need certain software, they need to know from which department you are, who is your supervisor, to steer the approval flows. We have the information going to our identity and access management. With recruitment, we will be linking to LinkedIn and our job board, and of course, Analytics Cloud servicing our finance department. On the digital side, we have FileNet as a digital file and Connective for e-signature. Some implementation highlights. Flexo as implementation partner, I already told you. The culture was one thing, but having skilled and experienced consultants bringing value and best practices. That was really important to guide us, because as we saw in onboarding, some some process changes were needed. And there, the input of those consultants was really valuable to say, we prefer or recommend this, or we saw already this not working. Please consider. That's what we expect from our implementation partner, and not implement what we ask, but also being a sounding board for the decisions we are considering and taking. Important, also from a price aspect, of the accelerator approach, meaning that we do not start from a blank page and have to discuss each and every detail, but we started from a pre-configuration, which also allowed us to only have 2 iterations. And that you saw in the period during which we went live. Those 5 months would not have been possible without the accelerator approach. And innovation, it's important. We hear the word a lot, but you have to be inventive, rethink processes. So an example I can give is the fact that we also do the contract handling and the contract follow-up in the onboarding process, which is normally not the case, but it was one of our requests, which was to our satisfaction, answered by Flexo in a nice way. Attention points on the HR project team: to have a core team. It's always the same. If you don't have the people to be focused, you will not achieve it. I can say that the core team at Degroof Petercam was only 2 people, but fully dedicated to the project team. So you don't have you don't need an army to win the war, but a dedicated, focused team can also help. In-depth functional workshops with IT, with legal, not easy. You can ask Flexo. We spent quite some time to convince them to explain on what the solution would be. But once they are on board, you're safe and you're good to go. The payroll providers, we, from the beginning, took them on board, told them what were our intentions, touched if what we wanted would have been possible to avoid any bad surprises at the end. And also, we invested quite a lot to seek benefits outside HR, because if you use the system in the company, yeah, your base, in fact, becomes bigger. The system becomes more important, and it's critical for his existence. IT was one of them, but also our procurement department. We manage our external workforce also in the people. Finance, cost calculation, having for at least everybody into the system, internal, external, on the right cost center. Compliance, very important department. They need a lot of training. Our employees need compliance training, but also certain declarations are to be made. And identity and access management, some examples on where we use the HR data outside of HR. Attention point is the cost estimation. I can assure that the estimations we made at the start of the project together with Flexo, we are today still in budget, but you have to make sure to capture the full cost, because SAP Cloud Platform integration to make the connections, Analytics Cloud, the extensions, they all have a license cost next to the implementation cost. So be sure you also capture those in order to get out of budget and miss those nice features. Here's some screenshots on how it could look like. It's still the skier. I should have changed it because we change our background with the season, so 4 times a year. But for the ones who know SuccessFactors, I think we are quite standard. But we also use the platform as a link to other applications. As you can see, we offer a link to AG Insurance, to SD Works, to our intranet. So it's not only focus on what is in the system, but also on the system can link and bring you easier to other platforms. The onboarding, so our new hires see, they can take a course or listen to the message from our CEO, where to go, some information, typical onboarding information. But what is nice is that the interface stays the same after they are hired. They are used before, and they are our biggest ambassadors today. An example of learning, you will see blood collect. It's a test system. No, it isn't. Again, an example of how we use the platform also for non-HR. And here, it was organized that you could give blood in the company. We organized the sessions. People could subscribe to the different sessions. It's one of the examples, thinking a bit broader than just thinking HR. Link to our partners, Fabelfin, Elan Plus, and for the rest, access to the catalog and the learning history. No rocket science, but easy to use. A word on the extensions, because SuccessFactors is a nice tool, giving a lot of functionalities, but they are not perfect or not answering completely to our needs. And one of those needs is organization charts. And SuccessFactors offers different views. They offer the person to person, who is reporting to who. They often offer the position org chart, but they do not offer an organizational org chart. An org chart where we see the department, the division, the business unit, and the employee at the same time. And that is what we need. Not, of course, for internal, but also for our for the regulators, for example. So there we decided to go to partner with Ingentis. They have developed an extension based on SuccessFactors, allowing us to visualize the organizational org chart, but also to connect to the employee profile that you can see on the right. Another one, very interesting, was the training request manager. It's a solution extension built by Flexo. And as we have a lot of external requests that you cannot handle via your catalog because you don't know them, we needed a system, we needed a process in order to allow our employees to request the external training. And this training request manager answers to that request. So they can enter the request, there are workflows behind, business rules behind, and what is very important, it is linked to the LMS, to the learning platform. So when people register, it's approved, it comes on their learning plan in the people, and once they took the training, they confirm, they get an email, they confirm, it comes automatically in their learning history without intervention of our learning administrators. And that's again important for the reporting of training hours, for example, for the social balance. Some examples on how our platform supports the non-HR processes. Already mentioned them. Procurement, external workforce. And you know, probably you're in the same case. You have consultants, contractors coming in, going out, not always having a view. And you have your interns, interims, different kinds of external people. So we use the work order, which we extended quite heavily with custom fields in order to answer to the specific needs of procurement. And what is important, we put the people as the platform where the user ID is created. So it's not IT who is creating that user ID. We do the creation in the people, our platform. As I said, if an employee is not in the people, he does not exist for Bank Degroof Petercam. But it's critical and essential to have such kind of processes in order to have the right data quality and to have the full data, one of the objectives of the project. Compliance, next to what is needed, we need to declaration on the gifts, mandates, personal account dealing, and people familiar with banking know that there are specific statuses of employees like the PCP, identified staff. We have to identify them, make sure they are fully trained, retrained. So that's used therefore too. Security, joiner, mover, leaver. When an employee leaves the company, we need to cut all his accesses. So that's triggered again from our HR platform. And then last but not least, finance, cost reporting, where I think we did a very nice job combining SD payroll data with data from our Employee Central, combining those data with the finance wage type account mapping, having the right payroll data to the right cost center in the right financial account, allowing them to do day-to-day cost reporting. That's happening in our analytics cloud. Here also some screen caps. On the left, you see an example of notification. It's very important. The system triggers notifications. For example, here for a new external employee workforce. On the right, we have PCP gifts, home insiders. The gifts section where we ask information on what kind of gifts you receive. And as I said, there is an approval flow behind. We have a compliance annual declaration that is sent to all employees and they are obliged to fill out. And the system allows us to do the follow-up, right? Who did or did not do his declaration. Before that was quite difficult. A lot of people ignore the request, but now we can push until everybody has made his declaration. Example of Analytics Cloud. It doesn't say a lot, I know, but you can see the cost center, the SD code, the financial account, the payroll period, so exportable to Excel for the finance department. So that's we're almost at the end, but not to forget one of the important success factors. Sorry for the word. But change management was indeed important because we have business goals and we can have the nicest system, the nicest processes in place. But if HR or our employees do not use the platform, if they do not go to the learning to subscribe, or they do not go to the PMP to define their objectives, it's like an empty playground. It looks nice, but it's, So there we were well aware that we have to invest also in change management to make sure that the employees, HR, the other businesses, they find our playground, they like our playground, and we can play together. How did we approach our change management? We defined the objectives, which I mentioned at the start. What will change, but most important, who will be impacted by the project? And when you make that inventory, you see it's HR, it's our people managers, but it's also, in fact, all the employees that are impacted, and of course, also the other departments. It's quite a project with an impact on the organization. So there, it was quite clear that if we don't apply a proper change management, the system would not be a success. And there, we took the decision to appoint a change manager. It was not a project manager, it was really a separate role in the project, taking care of change. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the change manager is in this call, Sebastian Santarelli, which I can recommend as a change manager. He is great. On the change management itself, I think I know that there are several approaches, but at Bank Degroof, we work with the ADKAR methodology. ADKAR meaning that first we create awareness, communication on our intranet. We talked about management teams. We foresaw some posters, some goodies. The sponsor informed our executive committee on a regular basis. We foresaw demos for the HR employees. So that was the awareness, not having all the details, but it will come, be prepared. Then we created some desire, what's in it for me, what will change. And then we identified also who needs to be trained, because we have a lot of training administrators in the business. They need some training. We checked the ability, and then at the end, do some reinforcement. Trainings plans were made, communication plans were made, and during, thanks to the methodology and to Sebastian, we were able to manage also resistance, because there is always resistance. Some people do not like to change at all, but I think at the end, change management was really needed and made that the project was a success after all. I think it's possible to send your questions, but first of all, I think I will roll Tom back into the camera. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, you can ask them via the chat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Guy, for the interesting testimony. So as we saw here, that HR transformation journey that Bank Degroof embarked on was actually a journey that started with technology. And we've seen in this presentation, I think it's quite clear to see that this journey is not alone about technology. But what we see now, and I think a lot of people already know this visual, is that technology organizations are changing quite rapidly. The pace of change is very, very high, even before what we are encountering today, the COVID-19. So as from now, we even have a big bang, and we see quite a lot of changes in the way of working together with colleagues, with your employer. And I think many of you will see that impact on a daily basis. So the change was already quite high, quite rapid, quite changing quite fast. Right now we are encountered with a big bang and we as organizations, and certainly HR, which play a massive role in this, have to change as well. So that's why such an HR transformation journey is a challenge, but a very, very interesting one. And I think opportunities are there at this moment to take up this journey. And what we see now, and it's typically, and I think he explained very well, is that a lot of transformation journeys are centered around the employee. And this roadmap, so to say, is built around experience of the employee, onboarding and so on. And what we see that lots of transformations are actually built upon that type of employee experience. And that's why we, as Flexo for People in HR transformation journeys, put actually the employee at the heart of the transformation. So we built our transformation around it. And that's what we do is build, or we have six elements of transformations which we use to analyze your situation. And it's also built around the employee. So we have six elements of transformation. We use that as a basis of analysis. And those six are the strategy. It could be the strategy of your organization as such, so from the highest level, so to say, but could also be your HR strategy, which is hopefully built upon the strategy of your organization. So that's the first element of analysis where we take a look at is the user experience of the employee experience, even the candidate experience is part of that strategy. Second one, are you organized to build around the user, your employee? What we see is that the slide that he showed with the roadmap, but actually that's a basis, the employee at the core, to build processes around it, processes that are actually user-centered, but you have to organize yourself as well. And I think before this call, we had a good conversation, he and I. We were talking about, for instance, having a service center where you can give people an experience as well. Even if it's an administrative question, you have to give them an experience as well. So you have to be a fluent, user-friendly experience. And that's part of the experience as well, apart from technology. A third one are people and competences, and maybe in the same context as well. Are people, the people that we have in-house, are they, for instance, support people? Do they have the right competences or skills to give that type of experience to employees? Now we're taking a look at the HR organization as such, from an internal organization as such. We have a lot of people that are client-facing in HR business partner, even payroll people. Do they contribute to that user experience as well? So people and competences are part of an analysis as well. A fourth one, I already mentioned it. Are your processes built around a good user experience? Aren't they too bureaucratic? No red tape and so on. This is also part of your of analysis. And what we often see, for instance, we as from Flexo perspective, as a consultant, our core business is to deliver services to our clients. If we lose too much time for approvals for holidays and so on, we cannot focus on our core business. So processes has to be fluent and efficient to ensure that we have a good user experience, that we can focus on what we need to do. And fifth one, of course, we talked about it a lot, he talked about it a lot, success factors is supporting technology, but it's only technology. It's part of your transformation journey. This was actually the trigger point to start the project, but technology is only one part. There are many things around it, processes and so on, all the other elements that are of high value in this transformation. And finally, analytics. Analytics can support you, and SAP Analytics Cloud is a good example of that. Can help you in seeing what people experience actually. And I think as SAP is investing quite a lot in this to actually capture the experience of the employees. How did they experience, for instance, their onboarding? Those types of questions you can ask to a new employee in order to actually recreate or improve your processes to do better next time. So the whole flow of an employee and actually measuring the employee experience is something which is really high on the agenda of SAP, and it's very, very promising. We're looking forward to that. So those are the six elements of transformation which you actually do to analyze. And in our analysis, we check at this moment, where are you now? So how are you actually doing on those six elements? And then we're together with you, looking at what is your level of ambition, where do you want to reach. We don't have to be the best in class for everything, but it's good to be very, very explicit to tell you or to know where you want to go on those 6 elements. So that's where we work together with you to actually live the dream and to check with you where your horizon lies, so to say. So that's a very important part of our HR transformation approach. And of course, it can be repeated enough, and I think he said it as well. Change management is the key to success. I think we've seen now empty playgrounds quite a lot in reality, and it's a very sad sight. And I think that's really a metaphor for a good metaphor for change management. Not only people have to adopt to a new way of working, but they actually have to like working in a new way. And this is something that we offer as well, but it's a very delicate and a very specific métier, so to say. So we really give the advice to invest in that. And I think Guy and I as well, we had our training in Adkar, and it's really worth doing. So change management is a vital part of HR transformation. So that it's in a very short presentation, some highlights, some things to think about. We as Flexo, we can help you with part of these, of course. And I think those 3 parts, the HR transformation, which I just discussed, more the business consulting part of it, but also change management, we can help you with in addressing those 6 elements of transformation, and actually take it together with you, build a roadmap, build your dream, build your to-be situation. That's the first part. Second part is what he highlighted as well, in implementing success factors with our proven methodology. This is what we do. This is our business, and that's what we do on a daily basis. So this is also something we can help you with. And a third one, and which was part of the presentation of Guy as well, we like to innovate with you. Some of the examples that he showed, we actually built together. So that means that from a design thinking perspective, we start building on it together and co-invested in this type of things. That means that although you might think that going to the cloud might limit you in choices, that's certainly not the case. We can help you with your specific processes or even innovate with you. We do projects with other clients where we actually pioneer together with clients and implement new technology which has never been implemented before. That's something we like to co-create with you together. So think AI, chatbots, and so on. It's a playground as well. Those new technologies. So that leaves it for me. Just a quick glance on what HR transformation can be. Just to close up here, always welcome to reach out to us, to Guy or to me. So we leave our credentials in the deck. Don't hesitate to just just call. And I just want to invite you as well for the Flexo for People website, where we have other events and webinars planned. And you can also see that in the end of this, in the beginning of next month, in the end of this month, we will have another webinar planned where we actually deep dive a bit further into the success factor solution. You saw quite a few slides on how it looks like. I think from a functional point of view, our colleague Werner will show you what's possible and actually show you in a demo how success factors work. So if you're these, please follow up on the website, and we will certainly publish our invite there. Okay, that leaves us up to the questions. I just have a quick look at it. Just a moment. Yeah, I think that's one for you. So you have to roll back in. What's the biggest challenge in the project?
What's the biggest challenge in the project? Thus, having everybody convinced of the need and the value of such a platform, because people are used to the way they work, and it works. But then there is a message: there will be a new HR platform. What will it bring to us? It will impact my job. Will it still work? A lot of questions come up. And in fact, nobody is questioning the solution, but it's more the challenge is to make sure that people are at ease with the solution. You take them with you during the project. No hidden agendas, and sometimes messages are, there will be a change, or I don't know. We will see what it will bring. But the biggest challenge is to have everybody, all the noses in the same direction. And it's because there is the functional work and the testing, and that's all a lot of work, but also invest in talking to people. That I learned from Sebastian, who go and drink a coffee, talk about the project, try to explain, listen to people, what keeps them busy, in order to, and that on different levels, also with the sponsor, with the CHRO, 2 minutes to grasp his challenges, his needs, his expectations. I think that's the biggest challenge. But when it succeeds, it gives a lot of satisfaction.
I think another question was, what would have you done differently, Guy?
What would have we done differently? It's difficult to say because I don't have immediately something I would change. I'm quite happy the way it went. I'm sorry, but at this moment, I will not answer. I would do it the same as we did, because it's a success.
Okay. So those are all the questions. If you would have any other, this would be the moment. Otherwise, we will close this webinar. Thanks a lot all to attend this interesting story by Guy. Guy, thanks a lot for your testimony. Well appreciated. I'm happy to I'm happy to go further in this journey together, because we still have some things to do together.
Absolutely, Tom.
Yeah.
Pleasure is mine.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye bye. Bye all.